Hello, what is going on, ladies and gents? Today we're going to be looking at some dumb conspiracy theories. Should be quite the topic to dive into. Cannot wait. Danny Duncan made an RIP Oliver Tree video. Huh. I know they did collab a couple times. Dumbest conspiracy theories, and it immediately is a War Thunder ad.
This video today is sponsored by War Thunder. Conspiracy theories. The best way to make dumb people feel smart since the invention of Adderall. And let's be clear here, I'm not going to be talking smack about this cute little world of conspiracy believers. Much like every person in the Silk Song subreddit before this weekend, I too want to believe. I mean, have you seen the world right now? Nope.
Don't even get me started with this whole thing, just cause the world right now is so shit. At least the US is just, oh my god. Words can't even describe how deep shit we're in. Okay? Like, oh my, I'll just let him talk.
Bueno, senorita, it's bad. It would be so cool if there was something else that I could, like, dump my mental abilities into, instead of staring at my Twitter feed and hoping for certain government buildings to... I don't know if we can include that, but I do that. But there's just one problem I'm coming across with conspiracy theories right now, and that is that they're dumb. They're big dumb. Big stupid dumb hour. I hate them, they make me mad. That's not to say that all conspiracy theories are dumb. I've talked about some cool ones in the past. Thems are some legit Stevens. Legit, I can't think of a better name for like legit, a nickname, like Debbie Downer. Legit Leroy's. I don't know. All conspiracy theories come from the same root, the same basis. But man, just some conspiracy theories are so much stupider than the other ones. Like on one hand, we have MK Ultra, a government brainwashing use of drugs that made people go crazy, and that is almost 100% proven to be real. And then on the other hand, we have the constantly...
Well, yeah, didn't they do that in like France with like the dancing people? Or some shit like that. I'm not entirely sure. I thought that was like a government
debunk theory that the government controls the weather. So going into the world of conspiracy theories,
well, yeah, they already do that. They do cloud seeding. That's... Did I miss what he said?
Ultra, a government brainwashing use of drugs that made people go crazy, and that is almost 100% proven to be real. And then on the other hand, we have the constantly debunked theory that the government controls the weather. So going into the world of conspiracy theories, you have to ask yourself the question...
Wait, what is debunked in like fucking conspiracy theories? What? No. Well, I wouldn't say the government necessarily, but dude, they literally have cloud seeding. There is literally a clip. Hold on, I can pull it up. Good old Jeremy Clarkson. Love that guy.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And, as it turns out, the cleanest. Now, the most amazing thing is that that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain.
And then it actually rains.
I told you. It's raining.
Yeah, like, that's not debunked. Like, they can easily do that. Is all life in the immediate vicinity deaf? I don't know, man. Good question. But yeah, that's not debunked. They can easily do that.
Okay, how much am I willing to turn my brain off for a little bit to heavily enjoy a lie that's being told to me? Because I'll be honest, I love believing in lies. Oh my god, is it so much fucking fun to believe in lies? Whether it be small town gossip, some ruckus of close-up magic.
We're just
it's
playing
all
along
fun,
with
baby.
it.
It's fun to pretend. And it's the same with dumb conspiracy theories too. They make the world just a little bit more fun. A little bit funner, if you will. Like the urban legend that 80s heartthrob Richard Gere stuck an entire gerbil up his... Actually, YouTube won't let me tell you where he stuck that gerbil, but I can tell you over on extratug.com. We're doing these in the middle now. For $4 a month, family. Stupid
Awesome.
that they're funny, we love sharing dumb lies with each other, giving birth to the lowest level of hearsay and rumors. So get ready, Tuglets, because not even tinfoil hats will save you from the stupidity of these extra stupid conspiracies. That was hard to
Beautiful.
say. Hey, do you guys like playing video games?
Yeah.
Holding controllers, pressing keys? Of course
Hell
you do.
yeah.
You're a big Tug fan. You're an absolute degenerate. And let me tell you, there's something more to video games other than pressing a button and getting a cookie. Sometimes you can fly planes and drive tanks
Ah.
and shoot down planes with your tanks.
Now here's your fucking War Thunder ad. God damn you. 5 minutes to get into the fucking video. 4 minutes, sorry.
Sweet bonus pack, which hooks players up
I
with
don't
multiple
want your bonus
premium-
pack.
What? I got so much things. With an unmatched shooty, I'm a tank. All right, so to begin, we're gonna start off with conspiracies that I like to categorize as just lies. Straight up lies. You know, the ones
Okay.
you hear the top line bit of and your brain involuntarily says, oh, a lie. You just lied to me to my face. But as dumb as these lies are, and trust me, brain cell killing, huffing glue levels of lying, maybe, just maybe, with my pea brain and very low level intellect, I could find myself on board the train. All right, up first of these conspiracy theories is that Finland doesn't exist. These are gonna be really hard now that I think about it. This one comes to us
Alright.
courtesy of, oh god, it's the Soviet Union. It's been a while, guys. I'm really trying to get away from it. There's just no escape from the Cold War. I put it on my merch. I mean, at this point, it all goes back to the Soviets.
Hit a
According
little
to this
jig.
theory, Japan and the Soviet Union spread the lie that Finland rests between the USSR and Sweden, when in reality, there is no landmass there at all. But why would they conspire to make us think that Finland doesn't exist? Apparently, it's because the fishing in that area is really, really good, and they wanted it all for themselves. You know, your grandpa's secret fishing spot that, you know, he doesn't want anyone to go to? That's what they were doing, but on a geopolitical scale. Japan agreed to participate in the ruse in exchange for the right to fish there without worrying about international laws. And it goes even further. The Trans-Siberian Railway was built in order to help transport all of those fish to Asia. And once the fish got to Russia's east coast via railway, they would then be shipped to Japan under the guise of being Nokia products, which is why Japan was the #1 importer of Nokia products for much of the 20th century, which is crazy. It's crazy that Nokia phones are attached to Soviet-level lies about Finland. Of course, there's one pretty big issue here. The 5.6 million people who call Finland home and the country's 4 million annual
Well, yeah,
visitors.
obviously.
That's easily explained. You see, the people visiting Finland just
They're
think
government
they're visiting
agents.
Finland. In reality, anyone who lives in or visits Finland is just in a remote forested area in Sweden, Estonia, or Russia. Now, does that all sound crazy? Of course it
Yes.
does. The number of people who would have to be involved in this conspiracy is a bit high. It's a bit above average. From airline pilots to map makers to all those Finnish celebrities like York, was she Finnish? It would be truly wild if the secret stayed a secret for nearly half a century. So how exactly did this conspiracy theory start to spread? Well, the internet. Every thing comes from the internet. You guys know that.
Yep,
In 2015, a Redditor posted this theory in a thread asking users what lies parents taught them as a child. So they laid out the Finland conspiracy, one that they willingly admit they don't believe, and it caught fire online. There's even a Finland conspiracy subreddit with over 43,000 contributors or subscribers.
People believe in the most fucking dumb shit, bro. Like, especially just everything fucking Trump just spews out of his fucking dementia old ass. Like, I don't. Where did people's common sense go? You know? Like, and there's this whole thing about, like, breads and circuses and shit. Like, you see, after any fucking athlete team wins, Philadelphia, the Knicks barely winning, streets are just getting upturned. It's because people are fucking losing interest just because they're flooding us with just so much shit. Oh my god. Makes my fucking It's gonna give me a brain aneurysm just thinking about it.
Whatever Reddit's doing. Now, I will say lying to children is very, very funny. Almost every single time. But with the advent of the internet, you gotta realize that when you lie to
Certain
people,
lies
you're
are not
reaching
great.
some of the most mouth-breathing basement dwellers on Earth. So it's kind of dangerous. Funny jokes become misinformation really fast. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll pause on believing that one because it's kind of hard to, it's so stupid. But then there's Australia, a country that exists and is larger than the United States. And there's a conspiracy that it doesn't exist. So we're just gonna plow through this one too. The story goes that in the late 18th century, Britain had 162,000 convicts that they wanted to get rid of. So they shipped them off to the fabricated country of Australia,
yeah.
when in
They
reality,
it's
they
the
just
place-
drowned them in the ocean. Now this brings
Oh.
off the idea that the British Empire is a big piece of shit that did a bunch of atrocities throughout its history, including Australia itself, where they committed multiple atrocities to the indigenous people who live there, including but not limited to mass killings, disease, violence, exclusion, they ruined their language, cultural erasure, environmental
Yep.
degradation, and child
Yep.
removal.
Yep.
Woo! It also leans into the fact that Australia was established as a
Glad to know America's not the only country. Well, I think it's just white people, man. It's just white people suck. We need more variety nowadays. I think we could make do with less whites. Okay, just because white sucks. What's good about white? You know, like what's something that's white that's good? Not cocaine. I don't even know, man.
British penal colony during that time, which, if you didn't know, is true. British people, if they had a problem with somebody, they wouldn't put them in a prison. They just throw them on a desert, giant continent island full of snakes and spiders and said, like, figure it out, king. British criminals
Fair.
would be exiled to the other side of the world and given harsh
And then they
manual
would
work.
probably get
Forced
taxed.
labor, crimes against indigenous people, all while expanding an empire. That's some classic British achievements. That's like
Yep.
getting platinum on PS5. That is, you nailed all of them. To this day, 20% of Australians are descendants of convicts. And honestly, I'm not sure which one is weirder. The conspiracy that Australia does not exist, or the fact that Australia is pretty much just British bad boys. Which makes sense. I love Australians. Sadly, they don't exist, though. For Australia not to exist, we have to deny the existence of the crocodile hunter and the bloomin' onion from the outback. So those are both pretty rough for me. So how does the Australian
Not the bloomin'
theory,
onion, bro.
counteract that? Well, they say every person you've ever met from Australia is an actor or is computer generated, which seems like a pretty big, that seems big. We're kind of just slipping into an alternative worldview where nothing makes sense, but that's...
I've met people who are Australian on like hikes usually for some reason. I never meet them anywhere else except just on like hiking trails. It's really funny.
It's pretty par for the course nowadays, but it's called simulation hypothesis, and it's the belief that the universe is a computer simulation. That can warrant an entire video on its own, but to come up with a computer simulation world just to invent Australia is hilarious to me, and I think I'm going to believe this one, because that just sounds like a good way to spend my time and resources. Speaking
Right.
of simulation, did you know that James Cameron spent over $40 million on special effects for the movie The Titanic? It'll make sense in a second. Unfortunately, all that sweet cheddar was pretty much wasted because according to my next conspiracy, the Titanic didn't sink. This one's actually really fun. I have a lot of fun with this one. It's not as stupid as the other two. And what's the base reason for this conspiracy theory? Is it aliens? It's insurance fraud. I'm telling you, it's actually interesting. Just wait a second. This conspiracy does include a sinking ship, but Titanic truthers believe that the sinking ocean liner in question was the Olympic. Both of these ships were owned by ultra-wealthy J.P. Morgan's White Star Line? What is that? Yeah, White Star Line, who in the early 20th century was competing with Cunard Steamship Company to build the biggest, fastest boats. But in 1911, the Olympic crashed into a military vessel. Whoopsie. Oops, you should have been looking out for them. Conspiracy theorists reasoned that, to recoup their losses and keep from falling behind Cunard in the Battle of the Big Boats, the company disguised the Olympic as the Titanic and set sail on a predetermined voyage to collect insurance money. Adding fuel to the fire of this conspiracy is the fact that the Titanic didn't allow public inspection before its maiden voyage. I mean, some of that's up in the air, but now
So, I mean, ultra wealthy guys are willing to do anything to get more money in their pockets. So honestly, that's not too far fetched. Because they could have planted explosives or something like that in the Titanic to get the insurance payout. But then you would also be dealing with all the people that would be suing you or dealing with the fallout of that. But then there's also the fact that it never sank, but I'm pretty sure people saw other people on the Titanic, so I don't know. And there's survivors. And I guess it counts for it, maybe. I don't even know. I'm not that well versed in a lot of subjects.
on board. If you are a rich person planning to do some and you don't let anyone see it before it comes out, that's how it's like when a video game comes out and they don't do previews for reviewers. You know it's gonna be a show.
Yeah, I hate like when the games, they just lead them on and on and on with release dates. Like there's that one fucking, it's this like horror game with knights and zombies. I know they're taking their time with that game and I hope it's good when it comes out. But for the love of God, I swear to God, I remember seeing clips of it like 6 years ago. Like, I mean, I don't know who, like, if they have a team making it or if it's just one guy. If it's one guy, kudos. But if it's like a whole ass corporate like company, like, what are y'all doing, dude?
One glaring hole that makes this another dumb conspiracy. It's the money. Did you follow the money? The money doesn't add up, yeah?
The money,
cost
yeah.
$7.5 million to build, but was only insured for $5 million. Sinking it wouldn't have helped at all. They would have lost
Well, yeah.
$2.5
Okay.
million in that time money. So like, I think $40 billion. I do like the concept. Maybe they just did it and there's math that I'm not seeing, but it seems stupid. But I do believe that one. I believe that one because it's fun. And it's such a long time ago that I don't care about the people who died. That makes sense, right? So moving on.
Damn, okay.
No disrespect if you like Joe Rogan, but he does let some pretty whacked out people push their ideas.
Joe Rogan's a fucking Mossad agent, man. He's just... They got him. They got him. What the fuck?
On his
Get this.
podcast. But
Get that motherfucker out of there.
makes the next conspiracy, known as dinosaurs don't exist conspiracy, to be even more dumb because he debunked it on his show. And if Joe Rogan is debunking one of your theories on his show, you should feel kind of stupid. He's hosted
Yeah.
paleontologist Trevor Vail twice, allowing him to fully debunk any notion that dinosaurs didn't exist. And not to get all high and mighty here, but to
I think dinosaurs might possibly not be how we think they look, but they 100% existed. There's still tracks to this day from like millions of years ago. And there's processes on how that can work. So, I mean, it's entirely plausible. And there's more oxygen back in the day. We've got more samples of other shit back in the day. Like, do people not go to museums and learn about things? Did y'all motherfuckers not go to school? Holy shit.
Merch the name of the Triceratops is disgusting.
That's not real. It's fake. You know, it's fake. Well, because I know in museums they put them as plastic because it's hard to fucking dangle like actual fucking dinosaur bones because they're actual rocks at that point. But, I mean, that's just to preserve the actual thing itself, and you don't want some random ass kid touching fucking fossils. Unless if it's like a designated like bark from a tree from like millions of years ago.
Oh, disgusting. Those sweet, gentle souls just wanted to eat plants and chill. And they died to a big rock, and you shouldn't respect them. And by the way, who hurt you? Who doesn't want dinosaurs to exist?
Yeah,
It's
seriously.
like a child finding out Santa isn't real and getting mad about it kind of behavior. But how did this conspiracy theory begin to spread? Who on Earth would have a lot of benefit by dinosaurs not existing? Who has a weird worldview that thinks the Earth started existing 2,000 years ago? Who would that be? Well, it's pretty much hyper-conservative Christians and professional athletes. And yes, I know, it is an oddly influential intersection between very uneducated people. But maybe it's worth going through a few of their points to see if, they have any
Yeah,
leeway
let's
to make
hear
me
'em
not
out.
hate them. Big spoiler, I'm never gonna stop hating these people. For starters, dinosaur deniers claim that if dinosaurs did exist, we would find bones everywhere. So the fact that you don't trip over a pterodactyl femur
You realize, for the bones to even happen, those motherfuckers had to basically die in a swamp or some shit. Anywhere else, their bones are turning to dust and getting blown away with time. Okay? Only reason we have some that are preserved is because they were in those former swamplands and shit, and they were actually able to get preserved. My God.
on the way to your car every morning means they don't exist. But that's not true because if you're not a idiot, you would know that fossils are rare because you have to get them in a rare situation. Bones from over 60 million years ago aren't just laying around everywhere. You get that, right? If that were the case, bones would be everywhere. You know how many things die every day? You know what I mean?
You'd see so many bones.
That's the whole point. We're made of stardust. We go back into the stars. That's my religion. They also claim that since the term dinosaur was coined in 1842, that was when they were invented, which is supposed to be some kind of caught you in a lie sort of revelation. Honestly, I don't think I need, this is
Because a Mosasaurus, was that it? A Megalosaurus. Well, still, peculiar among. Because yeah, it's fucking. What other name are you gonna fucking call them? You're not gonna call them big ass lizards. Yeah, like seeing that one, it's saying it's a giant crocodile lizard. Like, they had to come up with a name, man. They come up with names for all this shit.
Since the term dinosaur was coined in 1842, that was when they were invented, which is supposed to be some kind of caught you in a lie sort of revelation. Honestly, I don't think I need, this is real dumb. I don't want to even dignify this with an answer. Just because something was named doesn't mean it didn't come into existence.
Yeah.
Like, look at this big-nosed monkey. They named that recently, or at least within the last 50 years. It's right there, you know? We found it. We didn't have to dig. It was in a jungle, but like regardless, you know what I mean? It existed before we looked at. Do you have object permanence? Are you a baby? Are you a little baby? But at least as stupid as they seem, all these conspiracies are rooted in some sort of science. There's also an entire subgenre of conspiracies that only focus on celebrities. And we're gonna talk about those. And these are dumber than the last ones because there's no science involved. It's just shit people made up. But I believe some of them. So once again, I'm pretty stupid. Up first, Marilyn Manson had a rib removed. Do you know about this one? Were you in middle school from the 90s to the 2000s? Do you know who Marilyn Manson is?
Yes.
If you don't know, Marilyn Manson was a goth-adjacent shock rocker in the 1990s. He scared the hell out of suburban parents across the country, and, you know, maybe for good reason. This wasn't a very savory guy. In recent years, he's faced a lot of abuse allegations. Even the kids who listened to him were kind of terrified of him. And I get that. Look at him. That is a scary...
Yeah, he's always had an off-put. It's like if Nick Cage decided to abuse drugs for the majority of his life. I mean, don't get me wrong, Marilyn Manson makes some good covers, but he's quite a character.
Scary man. And in this weird pre-internet 90s, a rumor started to spread from middle school to middle school that Manson, certified weirdo, had a rib removed so that he could put his mouth on his own... I can't say. I really can't because I can't risk getting demonetized again. Things are tight.
Well, I mean,
I'm not terrified. Parents across the country.
Like, do you think that's a face of a man who would suck his own wiener? I'm not gonna answer that.
Look at him. That is a scary, scary man. And in this certified weirdo had a rib removed so that I can't risk getting demonetized again. Things are tight in the Big Tug household. But could you imagine anyone going to such lengths to achieve that, especially a rock star? Well, I guess specifically a rock star. If you've had everything, you might want to try something else. But somehow this urban legend managed to spread from sea to shining sea, and for nearly a decade, every teen in America truly believed that Manson was giving himself brain. And given the fact that he turned out to be a giant piece of maybe this rumor was just some intergalactic karma coming his way. So just as an act of childhood whimsy, I still choose to believe it. On my heart, Manson's rib is floating around in some doctor's basement, and I really appreciate that. But that's just one in a long line of conspiracies about rock stars. One of the earlier rock star conspiracies came from the 1960s, when a rumor spread that Paul McCartney, bass player for the Beatles, actually died in a car crash in 1966, heading home from recording Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club's Band. I think it's very funny that Jimmy wrote in this script, Paul McCartney, bass player for the Beatles, as if you wouldn't recognize Paul McCartney's name, and also calling him the bass player for the Beatles is weirdly not, I don't know, it's kind of like, I don't know if Jimmy
Paul McCartney for the Beatles.
It's he's the bass player. You know, it just has a connotation to
yeah,
it.
He's just
Anyway,
that guy.
The story went that the rest of the Beatles decided to replace Paul with a lookalike and soldier on as if nothing happened. But eventually, they were overcome with guilt, and they started leaving messages in their songs and album covers. Now, it is true that Paul McCartney was involved in 2 car accidents around this time, but neither of them were anything major. However, that didn't stop a college student in Iowa from writing about the conspiracy in his school paper, which was shared with a New York disc jockey live on air. Soon, rock fans who were a little too drunk and a little too high started riffing riffing on the idea. Apparently, the signs were everywhere, guys. We just weren't looking in the right places. So in the song Glass Onion, John Lennon sings, "Here's another clue for you all. The walrus was Paul." Okay, stay with me. And this was a reference to the song I Am the Walrus on the album Magical Mystery Tour. We're all familiar. And on the cover of that album, the Beatles are dressed in animal costumes, and the walrus costume, which is supposed to be Paul, is black. And stay with me still. Black is a traditional color people wear while mourning the dead. Okay, not convinced? We'll keep going. What about the cover of Abbey Road? Conspiracy theorists believe it represents a funeral procession. I'm sure you've heard this. Paul's not wearing shoes supposedly represents how some cultures bury people barefoot, and John's white suit represents the color of the mourning in certain Eastern religions. George double denim outfit is supposed to be the gravedigger, which is kind of a reach, but whatever. And Ringo's black suit is traditional going to a funeral attire. So all of this is obviously insane and stupid. But the best part is, the Beatles are so influential to pop music that even their conspiracies are influential. To this day, there are still thousands, well maybe not thousands, but a bunch of conspiracy theories about influential dead pop stars. Like the Avril Lavigne replacement theory, which surmises that the singer unalived herself after her debut album and was replaced by a body double named Melissa Vandal, whatever. Or the rumor that Andrew WK was replaced several times by actors as pawn for the Illuminati. Oh, and that Katy Perry is actually JonBenet Ramsey. Kind of in the same vein, not really, but that one's fun too. Believe every one of them. I don't give a f. But maybe the dumbest of all these music conspiracies stem from the New York Public Library. Their Schaumburg Center for Research in Black Culture posted a photo online from 1939 featuring someone who looks exactly like Jay-Z. Exactly like that man. So the internet immediately lost their minds over this photo. This was back in 2013, so not only was Jay-Z near...
Like,
featuring someone who looks exactly like... Jay-Z. Exactly like that man. So the internet immediately lost their minds over this photo. This was back in 2013, so not only was Jay-Z near the height of his fame and power, mainstream pop culture conspiracies were still kind of quaint. Reddit and BuzzFeed, remember BuzzFeed, posted the photo asking people cheekily if Jay-Z was a time traveler. Even mainstream media outlets thought the idea of Hove as a vampire amusing enough to feature it on their websites. Like People Magazine's online articles, 6 clues that birthday boy Jay-Z is actually an immortal being. I mean, People has never been the bastion for media integrity, but even for them, that's a pretty wild headline. So, what does this all mean? Absolutely nothing. Basically, we're getting lazy on the conspiracy front. We're just finding old pictures and shoehorning our conspiracies on top of that. Either they're secretly dead or immortal. It's 2 camps you fit into when you're a dead celebrity. Now, it's pretty easy to argue that a lot of the inspiration for conspiracies come from the unknown. We don't understand something, or we can't wrap our heads around it, like the evolution of dinosaurs, or Australian people, so we have to make up a story about it.
Yeah, because they aren't real.
I'm not going to point to points that we did that because people are going to get really upset about religion. But as humans, it's helpful to make order out of all the chaos that surrounds us, which is why we have tons of alien conspiracy theories. Until recently, even just believing in aliens was enough to get you lumped into the conspiracy theorist camp. But today, nearly 65% of Americans believe in the existence of intelligent extraterrestrial...
Okay, but like, how can you not, though? Like... The universe is just so big. Like, if we're alone out here, that's just... I can only just describe it as feeling cold, you know? All we're left with is just some little shitheads parasites on a planet that's destroying itself. And we're supposed to be the most intelligent life out here? I really doubt that.
Life. And you know what? I'm one of them Americans. I'm one of Zems. I really believe in aliens so much. But just because there's a high probability of intelligent life doesn't mean we figured out what exactly it is. That is, unless you're a conspiracy theorist. Let's talk about some alien conspiracies. They're also stupid, but they're a little bit fun. You want concrete proof that aliens exist? Look no further than redheads. Told you they're stupid. There's an entire conspiracy theory that...
Missing history of red hair. Aliens, Atlantis, and internet conspiracies. While scouring the internet for information about red hair, I've came across countless strange beliefs and conspiracies. A lot of them I find fascinating. I'll reproduce some of the most interesting ones here. For the most part, I found these ideas amusing. But I must admit there's always a slight doubt at the back of my mind. After all, who I am to judge what's true and false. Maybe the truth is stranger than we'd all care to imagine. Red-haired aliens. The fuck?
Gingers descended from aliens, specifically that they carry the DNA of a giant race of aliens called the Lyrians, who were aggressive, violent, passionate, and rebellious. Some conspiracy theories link them to the Norse Vikings. And, I must reiterate, this is obviously stupid as However, there are certain things that are pretty weird about gingers. For one, it's very rare to have red hair. Only 2% of the Earth's population have it. Studies show that they also perceive pain differently, which is wild. They have a better sense for changes in the weather. And according to sex researcher Dr. Werner Habermehl, they have more sex and an easier time getting there. Now, I'm not sure if any of that makes redheads aliens, but it does make them seem pretty cool. So high five a ginger next time you see one. They're nuttin'. But I mean, we've talked about celebrities and aliens and
that motherfucker straight.
You know, science. I just want to do some of my own conspiracies. Some things that I've been working on for a long time.
All right.
Things that I've been thinking about for way too long. Because I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of things that I want to talk about, and I have a Twitter. No one reads that, and I don't have time. They don't give me enough. I don't have enough space.
Who the fuck uses Twitter? Why are you using Twitter? It's just such a... I don't even bother using that.
So I'm just gonna yell at you guys, and you have to listen to my conspiracy theories because these are real. Number one, the computer is God. Computers are God now. That's what God, he said the second coming. I think it's computers, or the internet at least. I think Jesus is internet, and because if you think about it, you go to it when you have questions. When you're worried, you go to this internet. Is the rapture. You know what I mean?
This is an interesting take here, Tug. The internet is God. So therefore man created God? Or you think he was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna spawn the internet, I'm gonna see what you guys do with it? That would be interesting. And then Jesus is just like watching all these fucking clips. I wonder what he'd think of the black market.
This is the bad timeline. The internet was the bad time. I think dentistry is made up. I really do. There's no one regulating this. So you go into a dentist's office. Girl, my poor boy.
What do you mean? Dentistry not being regulated, I guess that can possibly make sense, especially with that whole veneer situation going on that happened for a little bit. Where, like, random motherfuckers were setting up shops and putting in fake-ass veneers with, like, super glue or some shit. Yeah, I can understand that.
My friend's girlfriend had 1,000 fillings because there's this crazy dentist in my hometown. Just recent developments in dentistry ever. The fact that you have a bad tooth and they rip it out of your head. Could be tactics, but...
That doesn't make sense, but how would you reverse a cavity? Because it's, like, spreading throughout your tooth. But then you get a gold one in return. That's pretty fire, though.
You guys know how I feel about chiropractors. I don't need to go into that.
Okay, the chiropractors are bullshit.
I don't get that at all. I don't know how they're made of metal. They weigh way too much. I don't get how planes stay in the sky. Don't get any of it. And I refuse to learn. Paper.
Brother, it's aerodynamics and jet turbines. It propels itself and it can glide. Because paper airplanes, flat dynamics. I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a stale starburst. You leave a starburst out, it doesn't change its chemical composition.
No, starbursts get fucking stale. I will disagree with you on that. If you leave those fuckers out with the bag open, give it like a couple weeks, they're stale.
I think that the government is controlling our reproductive health by flavor blasting things, like flavor blasted goldfish or the Cheez-Its with extra. I think that's it.
You say what?
You leave a starburst out, it doesn't change its chemical composition. I think that the government is controlling our reproductive health by flavor blasting things, like flavor blasted goldfish or the Cheez-Its with extra. I think that's it. I think that's all the...
How is it Now I need to fucking search this up. It is flavor blasted foods. Bad for your reproductive health. Oh, fuck. That's the AI overview. What's all this? Does Mountain Dew kill sperm? That's all these like fucking. Well, no shit. High mercury fish. Nah. What's with salt? Salt's good for you. You need your sodium. That's actually a load of horse shit. Fried and baked foods, I get. Avocados, nuts, and seeds. Yeah. Makes sense.
The conspiracies I could think of right now. If you have any.
Okay, so that's the end of Dumbest Conspiracy Theories. Thank you, Tug. I will be subscribing to you. Yeah, that was definitely interesting subject to be talking about. I didn't know. I honestly think society's fucking cooked. Honestly, I think people don't know how to think with their brain anymore. I think people need to read and get off the fucking internet. I know I need to be better about that. Sometimes I'd be doom scrolling, but you know, you just gotta fucking get out of that bed, man. And especially with all this shit going on now, like, shit's stressful out here, man. But anyways, I hope you, ladies and gents, have a wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, wonderful evening, and a wonderful night. And I will see you in the next one.